Hello my kings, queens and fellow non-binary leaders, and welcome back to Nerdy Nekoma. Today we're gonna get started with a SakuAtsuAranKita mini-series that's called Dizzying Encounter, and it's gonna get very dark. This was based on a request. The person didn't leave a name to give credit to, but whoever you are, I hope you enjoy what I made of this. But yeah, by all means, please read the content warnings. They're in the video description and they will be on screen in a second. It's gonna get dark. It's gonna get dark. I feel like I need to reiterate this, especially because it's not as abstract as my other more darker fics. So yeah, let's get started. I'm just saying, Q, you might want to be careful these next couple of weeks. Keep the online presence low and don't do anything provocative in interviews. Anything I do is considered provocative by them, starting with the simple fact of me doing my job. His brother gave a half-hearted chuckle while Kiyomi grumbled his reply into his glass. He already felt a bit tipsy, a feeling he usually stayed away from, but that was the only thing making conversations about their family bearable. Apparently, their cousin, not Muteo luckily, had managed to mess up majorly in the eyes of their uptight family. He didn't care for the details of that drama, but the consequences were rather straining. They started parading Ichiro and his wife Kaya around in an attempt to 1. Save face, and 2. Subtly rub it in how much better their children were. Even their disappointing daughter, who at the beginning of her 30s was still without a husband, had been dragged back into the limelight. They bragged about her successful business, always with a focus on the, for women, appropriate aspects of her work, charity. Sakusa could see the pain in Ayuka's eyes in each of the PR pictures, but they both knew that playing along was the least stressful option. It wasn't far-fetched that they'd come to brag with Kiyomi's career next, no matter how unconventional it was. Less likely, but still an option, especially because his relationship and sexuality still weren't public knowledge. He hoped that the possibility that it might become public one day would be enough of a deterrent. With a sigh, he downed the rest of his drink and gave something between a small bow and nod to his brother. Thanks for the warning. Sorry that they already decided on you as the poster child. No, I'm used to it. I'm just trying to keep Kaya and the twins out of it as much as possible. Ichiro finished his drink, non-alcoholic, too, and paid for both of them before turning to leave. He threw him one last testing glance. Kiyomi just shrugged off. You got a way to get home? Yeah, I'm just gonna call a taxi. Don't want to bother them. You just go home to your wife and kids. I'm sure they miss you. His brother gave another chuckle before ruffling his hair a bit, much to Sakusa's annoyance. You really are close to them, huh? Already starting to pick up on accents and habits. How cute. The younger blushed bright red and turned away quickly. With a last wave, Ichiro finally left, and he let himself fall into his hands with a groan. He motioned for the bartender to give him another drink. The gods knew he needed it. When one appeared before him, he didn't hesitate to take a big sip before putting it back down when suddenly someone else, not his brother or anyone he knew for that matter, took the place next to him. The taste also wasn't what he expected. Sorry, was it yours? I'll pay for another one. The stranger chuckled and got comfortable next to him, much to Sakusa's dismay, but he still felt apologetic about the drinks, so he didn't say anything. No, it's for you, don't worry. He gave him a cheapish grin, and Sakusa wanted to recoil but sucked in a stabilizing breath and just nodded slowly. He did appreciate the gesture to some degree, if it didn't come with certain expectations. Thanks. Though, don't take this the wrong way, but I'm taken. I'm sure you are. I mean, don't take this the wrong way, but you're hot as fuck. He snorted. The stranger's bluntness almost could rival Atsumu's, and something about that was comforting. It was like being comforted by the reminder of his boyfriend without dragging him into this mess. Thanks. I appreciate it. Maybe he had a bit too much already. or was too disoriented by the whole exchange this evening. He wasn't usually this friendly with strangers, let alone those that came onto him. Still, he wasn't being overly pushy, and in an attempt to forget the exhausting weeks that were sure to come, he accepted the drink he ordered originally after finishing the one from the stranger. The bartender had placed it between them, and while making conversation, the man next to him pushed it over to him respectfully. Sakusa tried to listen to what he was saying, not to be rude, and to find an easy way to make it abundantly clear that he wasn't available, shouldn't it not have been already. But his head began feeling heavy and he struggled to distinguish the words. He blinked confused and pushed his still half-full glass away until it accidentally tipped over. He began apologizing, but the words felt odd in his mouth. He thought the guy next to him did it for him and began helping to keep the spread at bay with napkins. Again, he tried to fight off the dizziness, trying to hold on to every halfway coherent thought crossing his mind. He hadn't drank that much. He couldn't remember the last time he felt like this, and Atsumu had gotten him into some truly stupid drinking competitions when out with the team. He didn't just feel off balance, his muscles barely responded when he tried to move. Sakusa barely registered that he was helped outside, and the hope that someone was calling someone he knew or a way for him to get home shattered as he looked up and saw the stranger. At last, realization made his throat tighten. He hadn't seen the bartender place the drink the other bought for him in front of him, just assumed he did. Sakusa felt a hand on his chin, forcing it up as he regained some of his senses. He didn't know where he was, and even through the fog trying to put him under, terror ran through his system. His breath caught in his throat and he felt nausea rising in his stomach as he felt the touch of lips against his neck while his head was forcefully turned to the side. He was placed on something soft while a weight above him held him down. His muscles felt as if filled with lead, too heavy as though a toxin bound them in place. The man said something above him, with fixating his hips with his own, but Sakusa didn't understand a word. He didn't want to understand a word. The cold that betrayed that his shirt had been opened, and the burning where strange hands traced his muscles made bile rise in his throat. His breath cut short. He needed to get out of here. The thumb tracing his waistband and threatening to dip under made him feel nauseous enough to double over. He didn't hear the exact complaint as the man shouted. Disgust crawled up his skin at the taste of vomit, the smell, and knowing that bits of it surely clung to his clothes. The most had gotten onto the carpet next to the couch he just realized he was on. The feeling didn't compare to the utter repulsion he felt towards the man above him, and a much bigger part of him, the part that felt helpless and terrified as his chin was forced up again, was glad for everything that made him less attractive to this monster. Anything that gave him a chance to escape this nightmare. These things weren't supposed to happen to him. People weren't supposed to look at him and see a target. Prey. He was tall and physically strong. He didn't feel strong as the drug was coursing through his veins. He felt trapped and utterly at his mercy as his grip became so tight it dug into his skin. He felt like he was drowning and nobody saw or heard him. You're going to behave now? It took me too much to get you here. I usually only use this stuff on smaller ones and girls. Wasn't sure it's enough for someone like you. The clarity of those words struck him. Throwing up must have dispelled some of the toxin from his body. I gotta say, it's much more fun when they are still a little conscious. Maybe I should adjust the dose in the future. His side had cleared a little too, and when he opened and closed his hands experimentally, he could actually follow the sensation. He waited until the man was distracted and leaning down again before the spiker put all his strength into throwing him off. It wasn't enough immediately, but the stranger lost his balance as Sakusa fought back and fell over the side of the couch. There was a shattering sound as he fell into what Sakusa presumed had been the coffee table, but he didn't look back to check. Shouted curses followed him as he fought himself up and rushed to find a way out. He bumped into the door frames and walls. An infinite sense of relief overcame him as he found his phone and wallet in the pockets of his pants unchanged. When he finally made it into the hallway of what looked to be an apartment building, he had to stabilize himself against the wall while trying with his head still swimming to decide whether the elevator or stairs was riskier. Not wanting to fall and break his neck, he quickly called the elevator but remained by the door to the stairs in case the man would follow before the elevator could arrive. The doors opened and he rushed inside, pressing the close button. His heart stopped when he saw the stranger appear at the end of the hallway and fixating him, but luckily the doors closed in time and it looked like he was limping, so Sakusa hoped he couldn't catch him on the stairs. Still, as soon as the doors opened again, he bolted out. Despite having no shoes on, he ran as fast as he could down the street until he found a small gap in between two buildings and hid inside. He snuck further into what wasn't even a proper side alley, one hand always on the wall. His breath burned in his lungs and he failed to stifle it. Eventually, enveloped by the shadows of the buildings framing him to both sides, he let himself sink down against the wall. His breathing was still hectic. His eyes were still wide open as he stared uncomprehending against the opposite wall. And suddenly he cried. Desperate tears streamed in rivers down his face, and he couldn't stop it, just pull his knees up to his chest and sling his arms around himself. His whole body was shaken by mercifully silent sobs, and he had to fight for air in between. His head still felt foggy and his skin was crawling. The ground beneath him felt cold and damp. His socks were soaked in dirt. Still, none of it felt as disgusting to him as the lingering sensation of the intrusive touch on his skin. His hands dug themselves into his hair. The slight pinch from the uneven pull helped. He tried to breathe through the pain, setting his nerves ablaze and find an anchor. More bile assembled in the back of his throat, and the cold draft licking over his bare skin made him shiver. Still, he stayed frozen. He was so tired. His world spun, and he couldn't. His eyes began falling shut, and he had no energy to fight it anymore. He curled himself up into a ball and leaned his head against the pipe next to him. He was tired. He couldn't get up anymore. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I'm so sorry to leave you on this cliffhanger. I really hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe and tell me your thoughts in the comments. As you know, there will be a happy end. On this channel, there will always be a happy end. And yeah, but it is a very heavy topic, so enjoy this series with caution. You all know the focus on this channel is on healing, and the next parts will definitely be about that. And for real life, never accept a drink from a stranger unless you see the bartender give it to you directly. Always watch out for your drinks. Nobody's at fault if this happens to them. I'm just saying, keep safe, guys. Special thanks as always goes out to my nanny Nekos. They help me so much. And yeah, if you spontaneously maybe want to rewatch Fake It Till You Make It to understand some of the context of where Ichiro and Kaya as characters are coming from, feel free. You will help me pay my college tuition. So thank you so much. Here's my content. I hope you have a wonderful and amazing day. Bye everyone.
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. 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 Today's gonna be a good day.